abandon,
abduction,
abject,
abrasive,
absolute,
absolve,
absorb,
abstinence,
abstract,
abusive,
abyss,
academic,
accelerate,
accessible,
accessory,
accommodate,
accomplice,
accord,
acknowledge,
acme,
acquire,
acquittal,
acute,
adage,
adamant,
adapt,
addiction,
address,
adept,
adhere,
adjacent,
administration,
adolescence,
adversary,
adverse,
adversity,
advocate,
aesthetic,
affected,
affidavit,
affiliation,
affliction,
aftermath,
agenda,
agent,
aggressor,
alias,
alien,
alienate,
alimony,
allegiance,
alleviate,
alloy,
allure,
aloof,
altercation,
amend,
amiss,
ammunition,
amnesia,
amnesty,
amoral,
ample,
amulet,
analogy,
anarchy,
anchor,
anecdote,
anemia,
anesthetic,
anguish,
animated,
animosity,
annex,
anomaly,
anonymity,
anonymous,
anthem,
anthropologist,
antidote,
antiquated,
antiseptic,
ape,
apocalyptic,
apparatus,
appease,
application,
appreciate,
apprehend,
appropriate,
aptitude,
arbitrary,
arbitrator,
arcade,
archives,
aria,
array,
arrest,
arrogance,
arrogant,
arsenal,
articulate,
artifact,
ascertain,
asinine,
aspire,
assert,
assessment,
assumption,
assurance,
asteroid,
astral,
astronomical,
astute,
asylum,
atlas,
atone,
attain,
attentive,
attest,
attribute,
audit,
auditorium,
August,
authoritative,
autopsy,
auxiliary,
avail,
avalanche,
avenge,
aversion,
avert,
avid,
awe,
babble,
badger,
bait,
bomb,
balmy,
vein,
barb,
barren,
beam,
begrudge,
belittle,
benefactor,
beneficial,
beneficiary,
benevolent,
benign,
bent,
berserk,
beseech,
bestow,
betray,
biased,
bizarre,
bland,
blasphemy,
blatant,
bleak,
bloated,
bluff,
blunt,
blurred,
bowed,
bogus,
bolt,
booming,
boundless,
bourgeois,
boycott,
bravado,
brazen,
breach,
brittle,
brochure,
brooch,
browse,
buffet,
bureaucracy,
burly,
cash,
cadaver,
calculated,
caliber,
callous,
camouflage,
candor,
canine,
cant,
capacity,
caprice,
caption,
carrot,
cardinal,
cardiologist,
carnage,
carnal,
cascade,
casualty,
catalyst,
catastrophe,
Catholic,
caucus,
cavalier,
celebrated,
censor,
cerebral,
champion,
chaotic,
charisma,
charlatan,
chaste,
check,
checkered,
chisel,
chivalrous,
choreography,
chronic,
chronicle,
sight,
civil,
clairvoyant,
clandestine,
clasp,
clemency,
clientele,
clip,
clout,
coalition,
coercion,
coin,
coincidence,
collage,
collateral,
colossal,
comatose,
commemorate,
communal,
commute,
compact,
compatible,
compelling,
complement,
compliance,
component,
compound,
comprehensive,
compress,
compromise,
compute,
concede,
conception,
concession,
concord,
conundrum,
convene,
convention,
conventional,
converse,
convert,
conviction,
cordial,
coronation,
corroborate,
cosmic,
cosmopolitan,
covered,
curator,
curd,
cynical,
dabble,
dank,
deadlock,
debacle,
debris,
debutante,
decipher,
decorum,
decoy,
default,
defer,
defiance,
definitive,
deflect,
diffuse,
degenerate,
degradation,
delectable,
delete,
deliberate,
delusion,
demeanor,
demented,
demise,
demolition,
deploy,
deposition,
deranged,
dermatologist,
derogatory,
despise,
detached,
detergent,
determination,
deterrent,
detonation,
devious,
device,
devoid,
diabolical,
diagnosis,
discount,
discredit,
discrepancy,
discretion,
disdain,
disengage,
dismantle,
dismiss,
dispatch,
disperse,
dissertation,
distant,
distinction,
distraught,
diva,
diverse,
diversion,
diversity,
divine,
divulge,
doctrine,
document,
dolt,
done,
doodle,
dormant,
dossier,
downcast,
drab,
drivel,
droll,
drone,
dubious,
duration,
duress,
dwarf,
dynamic,
eccentric,
eclipse,
economy,
ecstasy,
eddy,
eerie,
egotistical,
egregious,
elusive,
embark,
embezzlement,
embody,
embrace,
emissary,
empathy,
endorse,
enduring,
engage,
engaging,
enhance,
enigma,
ensemble,
entice,
entity,
entourage,
entrance,
entrepreneur,
epic,
equilibrium,
equity,
erotic,
erratic,
espionage,
esteem,
estranged,
ethnic,
eulogy,
euphemism,
evasive,
exacting,
execute,
exemplary,
exempt,
exhilarating,
exonerate,
exotic,
expedite,
expertise,
exploit,
exposure,
extent,
extort,
extradition,
facade,
facilitate,
faction,
faculty,
fancy,
farce,
fathom,
feasible,
felicity,
fell,
felon,
ferret,
fervor,
fester,
festive,
fiasco,
fickle,
fidelity,
figment,
finale,
finesse,
flag,
flare,
flaunt,
flick,
flinch,
flora,
flounder,
flourish,
fluke,
foil,
ford,
forensic,
formality,
formidable,
forte,
forthright,
forum,
foster,
founder,
frail,
franchise,
frantic,
fret,
friction,
frigid,
frivolous,
fugitive,
fundamental,
fusion,
feudal,
galaxy,
gale,
gall,
garner,
gavel,
generate,
generic,
genesis,
genre,
ghastly,
gibberish,
giddy,
gist,
glaring,
glaze,
glib,
glimmer,
gloat,
gloss,
glutton, goad,
gnome, gorge,
gory,
gouge,
gourmet,
graduated,
graft,
grandeur,
graphic,
great,
gratify,
gratuitous,
gravity,
grill,
grizzly,
grotesque,
grotto,
grove,
grovel,
grueling,
gruesome,
guise,
gullible,
gusto,
haggle,
hallowed,
hallucination,
hamper,
harass,
harbor,
hardy,
hazardous,
hazy,
headstrong,
heed,
heinous,
hiatus,
hoax,
holster,
homage,
hone,
host,
hostility,
hover,
hue,
humane,
humility,
husband,
hybrid,
hypocrite,
hypocritical,
hypothetical,
icon,
illicit,
illuminate,
illusion,
illusory,
imbalance,
immaculate,
imminent,
immune,
impart,
impartial,
impasse,
impeccable,
impediment,
impending,
impenetrable,
imperative,
imperial,
implement,
implicate,
implication,
implicit,
implore,
imply,
impostor,
impotent,
impromptu,
improvise,
inadvertently,
inane,
inanimate,
incantation,
incense,
incentive,
incessant,
inclined,
incorporate,
incorrigible,
incriminate,
incumbent,
incur,
indicative,
indifferent,
indigenous,
indignation,
indiscretion,
induce,
indulgent,
industrious,
ineffectual,
inept,
inevitable,
infallible,
infamous,
infantile,
infer,
infernal,
infiltrate,
inflated,
informal,
ingenious,
ingrate,
inherent,
initiate,
inkling,
innate,
innovation,
innuendo,
insatiable,
insidious,
insightful,
insinuate,
insomnia,
insubordination,
insurrection,
integral,
integrity,
intellect,
inter,
interim,
interrogate,
intervene,
intimacy,
intimate,
intimidate,
intricate,
intrude,
intuition,
invasive,
invincible,
invoke,
invulnerable,
iota,
irate,
ironic,
irony,
irrational,
irrelevant,
irreparable,
itinerary,
jaded,
jeopardize,
juncture,
justification,
kindle,
kindred,
kismet,
knit,
kudos,
labyrinth,
laceration,
lap,
larceny,
latent,
lateral,
latitude,
lavish,
lax,
leery,
legacy,
legend,
leniency,
lethal,
levitate,
levy,
lewd,
liability,
liaison,
libel,
lineage,
linger,
linguistic,
list,
litigation,
livid,
loathe,
log,
low,
lucid,
lucrative,
ludicrous,
lumber,
lunar,
lurid,
luscious,
magnanimous,
magnitude,
malicious,
malignant,
mammal,
mandate,
mandatory,
manifest,
manifesto,
manipulate,
mannered,
marital,
maritime,
marked,
marquee,
martial,
martial,
martyr,
masochist,
material,
maternal,
maudlin,
maverick,
maxim,
meager,
mediocre,
meditation,
medley,
meek,
melancholy,
membrane,
memento,
menial,
mentor,
mercenary,
merger,
metamorphosis,
metaphor,
metaphysical,
methodical,
meticulous,
militant,
minute,
mirage,
misdemeanor,
mishap,
missile,
might,
mobile,
mock,
mode,
molecule,
momentous,
momentum,
monarchy,
monetary,
moratorium,
morbid,
morose,
mortician,
motley,
mundane,
mural,
muse,
mushroom,
muster,
musty,
myriad,
narcissist,
narrative,
natty,
nautical,
nefarious,
negligence,
nemesis,
neutral,
nip,
nirvana,
nocturnal,
nostalgia,
notable,
novel,
novelty,
novice,
nuance,
nurture,
obituary,
objective,
oblivion,
oblivious,
obnoxious,
obscure,
obsessive,
obsolete,
odyssey,
offensive,
offhand,
ominous,
onset,
opportunist,
optimist,
optimum,
optional,
ordeal,
ordnance,
orgy,
orient,
orientation,
orthodox,
overbearing,
pact,
paleontology,
pen,
paradox,
paragon,
paramount,
paranoia,
parasite,
parched,
pariah,
passive,
passport,
patent,
pathetic,
pathological,
patronize,
pedestrian,
pediatrician,
peerless,
penchant,
pendant,
perceptive,
perimeter,
perjury,
perpetual,
persona,
personable,
pertinent,
perverse,
petty,
petulant,
phobia,
phoenix,
pine,
pivotal,
plausible,
plight,
plum,
podium,
poor,
posterity,
potent,
potential,
potion,
practical,
practitioner,
pragmatic,
prank,
precarious,
precedent,
precinct,
precise,
predator,
predicament,
premise,
premonition,
preposterous,
prerogative,
prestige,
presumptuous,
pretentious,
prevail,
prey,
primordial,
pristine,
probe,
problematic,
prod,
prodigal,
prodigy,
profound,
prognosis,
prolong,
prominent,
promote,
prompt,
prone,
prosperity,
protocol,
prototype,
provincial,
provocative,
provoke,
prowess,
proximity,
proxy,
prude,
prudent,
prune,
psyche,
punitive,
puny,
purchase,
purge,
purse,
quack,
quail,
quaint,
qualified,
quandary,
quarantine,
quarry,
queasy,
quibble,
rabid,
rail,
rally,
ramble,
ramp,
rampant,
random,
rant,
rapport,
rationale,
rationalize,
rave,
ravenous,
realm,
reaper,
rebuttal,
recant,
receptive,
recipient,
reciprocate,
recluse,
reconcile,
reconnaissance,
recount,
recourse,
rectify,
recuperate,
redundant,
reek,
refrain,
regal,
regime,
regimen,
reimburse,
relevant,
relinquish,
relish,
remedial,
remiss,
remission,
remorse,
render,
rendition,
renounce,
rent,
repel,
repellent,
repertoire,
replica,
reprehensible,
reprieve,
reproach,
reputable,
rescind,
resentment,
reserve,
residue,
resigned,
resilient,
resolution,
resolve,
respiration,
restraint,
retain,
retaliation,
retiring,
retract,
retribution,
retrieve,
revert,
revoke,
rhetoric,
rhetorical,
riddle,
rider,
rift,
rig,
rigid,
robust,
roster,
rousing,
rebel,
ruddy,
rudimentary,
rue,
rummage,
ruse,
rustic,
ruthless,
sadistic,
saga,
sage,
salvage,
sanctimonious,
sanctuary,
sap,
sarcasm,
satellite,
savor,
scale,
scapegoat,
scenario,
scoff,
scourge,
scuffle,
scurry,
seasoned,
sect,
sedate,
seedy,
seismic,
sensual,
sentinel,
serenity,
sever,
severity,
sham,
shambles,
sheer,
shimmer,
shoddy,
shrewd,
shroud,
sibling,
simian,
singular,
sinister,
slag,
slander,
sleeper,
slight,
slither,
sluggish,
smirk,
sobriety,
solace,
solitude,
sophisticated,
sordid,
sovereign,
spat,
spatula,
spawn,
spectrum,
splice,
spontaneity,
squander,
squat,
stamina,
static,
statute,
stealth,
steep,
stellar,
stem,
stereotype,
stint,
strut,
studied,
sublime,
submissive,
subpoena,
subsequent,
subside,
substantial,
subterranean,
subtlety,
succulent,
sully,
summation,
summit,
superficial,
supple,
suppress,
surly,
surrogate,
surveillance,
susceptible,
sustain,
suture,
swagger,
swarm,
swerve,
swill,
symmetry,
table,
taint,
talisman,
tangible,
tenor,
tantrum,
tarantula,
tawdry,
tedious,
temper,
temperament,
tempo,
temporal,
tenacious,
tender,
tentative,
tenure,
termination,
testy,
tether,
theoretical,
therapeutic,
thermal,
thrive,
tirade,
Titanic,
title,
tonic,
torso,
touchstone,
touchy,
tout,
toxic,
tract,
trajectory,
transient,
transition,
transparent,
transport,
trapping,
traumatic,
travesty,
trek,
trespass,
tribute,
trigger,
trite,
trivial,
trough,
tryst,
tundra,
turbulence,
turmoil,
tycoon,
typhoon,
tyranny,
ulterior,
ultimate,
unbridled,
uncanny,
unconscionable,
underlying,
undermine,
unearth,
uninhibited,
unique,
universal,
unmitigated,
unprecedented,
unravel,
unrequited,
unscathed,
unseemly,
unwitting,
valid,
validate,
valor,
vampire,
velocity,
vendetta,
vendor,
venom,
vent,
verge,
veritable,
vex,
viable,
v,
vigilance,
vigor,
vindictive,
viper,
virtual,
virtue,
virus,
visionary,
vital,
volatile,
volition,
volley,
vortex,
vulnerable,
waffle,
wave,
wake,
wallow,
wan,
warrant,
wary,
wax,
weather,
whiff,
wield,
willful,
withdrawn,
wither,
withhold,
withstand,
witless,
woe,
worldly,
worst,
wrath,
wrench,
yen,
yield,
yoke,
your,
zephyr,
abate,
abbreviate,
aberrant,
abeyance,
abhor,
abolish,
abominable,
aboriginal,
abortive,
abstain,
abstruse,
abundant,
abut,
abysmal,
accede,
accentuate,
acclaim,
accrue,
acoustics,
acquiesce,
acrid,
actuate,
acumen,
addendum,
adherent,
admonish,
adorn,
adroit,
advent,
advocacy,
affable,
affinity,
affirmation,
affront,
aggregate,
aghast,
agility,
agitate,
agitation,
agrarian,
alchemy,
alcove,
allege,
allocate,
alloy,
allude,
allusion,
aloft,
altruistic,
ambience,
ambiguous,
amenable,
amenities,
amiable,
amicable,
amorous,
amphibian,
amputate,
analogous,
anarchist,
annals,
annihilate,
annuity,
annul,
anoint,
anomalous,
antagonism,
antithesis,
apathy,
aperture,
apex,
apocryphal,
apparition,
appellation,
apprehension,
approbation,
apropos,
aquatic,
aquiline,
arable,
arbiter,
arboretum,
arcane,
archaeology,
archaic,
archipelago,
ardent,
arduous,
arid,
armada,
aromatic,
arousal,
arrears,
arroyo,
artifice,
artless,
ascendancy,
ascetic,
ascribe,
askew,
assail,
assent,
assiduous,
assimilate,
assuage,
asunder,
atrocity,
atrophy,
attribute,
audacious,
auditory,
augment,
augury,
auspicious,
austere,
avarice,
aver,
averse,
aviary,
avow,
awry,
axiom,
azure,
baffle,
baleful,
balk,
ballast,
banal,
bandy,
bard,
baroque,
barrage,
barricade,
vasque,
bastion,
boggle,
body,
beeline,
beget,
beguile,
behemoth,
belabor,
belated,
belie,
belligerent,
benediction,
bequeath,
berate,
bereavement,
bereft,
beset,
besiege,
besmirch,
bicker,
bigotry,
bilious,
bilk,
blanch,
blithe,
blunder,
bluster,
bohemian,
boisterous,
bolster,
boon,
boorish,
bountiful,
braggart,
brawn,
breadth,
brevity,
broach,
browbeat,
brunt,
brusque,
bullion,
bulwark,
bungalow,
buoyant,
burlesque,
burnish,
bustle,
buxom,
calamity,
calligraphy,
calumny,
camaraderie,
cameo,
canter,
canvas,
capacious,
capricious,
caricature,
carnivorous,
catapult,
cataract,
cater,
catharsis,
causal,
caustic,
cavalcade,
celerity,
celestial,
celibate,
censure,
cerebration,
cessation,
session,
chafe,
chaff,
chagrin,
chameleon,
chasm,
chassis,
chastise,
chauvinist,
chide,
chimerical,
cipher,
circuitous,
circumspect,
circumvent,
cistern,
clamor,
clapper,
claustrophobia,
cleave,
cleft,
clench,
clique,
cloister,
clump,
coddle,
codicil,
cognitive,
cohesion,
coiffure,
collaborate,
collusion,
combustible,
comely,
comeuppance,
commensurate,
commiserate,
compact,
comparable,
compile,
complacency,
compliant,
composure,
comprise,
compunction,
concave,
conceit,
concentric,
conciliatory,
concise,
conflagration,
confluence,
consternation,
constituent,
constraint,
contemptuous,
contiguous,
contrived,
contusion,
converge,
conversant,
convex,
conveyance,
convivial,
convoluted,
copious,
cordon,
cornucopia,
corollary,
corporeal,
corpulent,
correlation,
corrosive,
countenance,
cumulative,
cupidity,
curmudgeon,
cursive,
cursory,
dais,
dapper,
dauntless,
dawdle,
dearth,
debauch,
debonair,
decadence,
decapitate,
decimate,
declivity,
decomposition,
decrepit,
deference,
defile,
deform,
defray,
deft,
defunct,
deign,
delirium,
delude,
deluge,
delve,
demean,
demur,
demure,
denounce,
depict,
deplete,
deplore,
depose,
depravity,
depreciation,
derelict,
derivative,
descry,
desecrate,
desolate,
despondent,
destitute,
desultory,
detrimental,
deviate,
devout,
dexterous,
diffuse,
digress,
dilapidated,
discord,
discordant,
discourse,
discreet,
discriminating,
disheveled,
disingenuous,
disinterested,
disjointed,
dislodge,
dismay,
dismember,
disparage,
disparity,
dispel,
disquiet,
dissection,
dissemble,
dissent,
dissident,
dissipate,
dissolute,
dissuade,
distort,
divergent,
divest,
docile,
dogged,
dogmatic,
domicile,
dote,
doer,
douse,
dowdy,
dregs,
drone,
dross,
drudgery,
dulcet,
dupe,
duplicity,
dutiful,
earthy,
ebb,
eclectic,
ecologist,
edict,
efface,
effigy,
effrontery,
egress,
ejaculation,
elaboration,
elated,
illicit,
elixir,
elliptical,
eloquence,
elude,
emaciated,
embargo,
embed,
embroiled,
embryonic,
eminent,
empirical,
emulate,
enamored,
encroachment,
endearment,
enmity,
ennui,
enormity,
entail,
enterprising,
entomology,
entreat,
enumerate,
eon,
ephemeral,
epitaph,
epithet,
epitome,
epoch,
equanimity,
equestrian,
equinox,
equitable,
equivocal,
erode,
erroneous,
escapade,
esoteric,
espouse,
ethereal,
etymology,
euphoria,
euthanasia,
evince,
evocative,
you,
exacerbate,
exalt,
excise,
exclaim,
exemplify,
exertion,
exhaustive,
exhort,
exhume,
exodus,
exorbitant,
exorcise,
expansive,
expedient,
expenditure,
expiate,
expletive,
explicit,
exploit,
exponent,
expound,
extant,
extraneous,
extricate,
fabricate,
facet,
facetious,
facile,
facsimile,
fallacious,
fallible,
fallow,
falter,
fanaticism,
fanfare,
fastidious,
fauna,
funning,
phase,
feckless,
feign,
faint,
felicitous,
ferment,
fervent,
fetid,
fetter,
fictitious,
figurative,
filament,
filibuster,
fissure,
flagrant,
flamboyant,
fledgling,
fleece,
flippant,
flow,
florid,
flux,
fodder,
foliage,
foolhardy,
fop,
forbearance,
forbear,
foreboding,
forego,
foresight,
forestall,
forego,
forlorn,
forsake,
fortitude,
fortuitous,
fraudulent,
fraud,
fray,
fresco,
fruition,
frustrate,
fulcrum,
furlough,
furtive,
gaff,
gainsay,
gall,
gambit,
gamut,
gabe,
garbled,
gargantuan,
garish,
garnish,
garrulous,
gaudy,
gaunt,
gawk,
genealogy,
generality,
genteel,
germane,
girth,
glossy,
gnarled,
grandiose,
gratis,
grievance,
grimace,
grouse,
grudging,
gruel,
gruff,
hackneyed,
haphazard,
harangue,
harrowing,
headlong,
heedless,
heresy,
heretical,
hermitage,
heterogeneous,
heyday,
hierarchy,
hilarity,
hindrance,
horde,
hoary,
homogeneous,
horde,
hovel,
hubris,
hulking,
humdrum,
humid,
hyperbole,
hypercritical,
hypochondriac,
ideology,
idiom,
ignite,
ignoble,
ignominy,
immutable,
impair,
impale,
impassable,
impassive,
impeach,
impede,
impel,
imperceptible,
imperious,
impertinent,
imperturbable,
impervious,
impetuous,
impetus,
implacable,
implausible,
impregnable,
impropriety,
imprudent,
impudence,
impunity,
impute,
inalienable,
inarticulate,
incapacitate,
incarcerate,
incarnation,
incendiary,
inception,
incidence,
incidental,
incipient,
insight,
inclement,
incline,
inclusive,
incoherent,
incompatible,
incongruous,
inconsequential,
inculcate,
incursion,
indefatigable,
indelible,
indentation,
indeterminate,
index,
indite,
indignity,
indisputable,
indolent,
indomitable,
inebriated,
inert,
infinitesimal,
influx,
infraction,
infuriate,
infusion,
ingenue,
injurious,
innocuous,
innovative,
inopportune,
inordinate,
inquest,
inquisitor,
inscrutable,
insipid,
insolence,
instigate,
insular,
insulated,
insurgent,
insurmountable,
intangible,
integrate,
interloper,
interminable,
intermittent,
intrepid,
intrinsic,
introspective,
invalidate,
invert,
inveterate,
invocation,
irksome,
irreconcilable,
irrefutable,
irrepressible,
irrevocable,
itinerant,
jabber,
jargon,
jaunt,
jaunty,
jettison,
jovial,
judicious,
kaleidoscope,
kernel,
killjoy,
kinetic,
knoll,
laborious,
lachrymose,
lackluster,
laconic,
lament,
languid,
languish,
languor,
laudable,
levity,
limber,
limerick,
limpid,
liquidate,
listless,
litany,
lithe,
loath,
lofty,
loiter,
longevity,
loom,
loquacious,
lout,
lull,
luminous,
lunge,
lurk,
luster,
lustrous,
luxuriant,
machination,
madrigal,
maelstrom,
maim,
malaise,
malcontent,
malevolent,
malfeasance,
malign,
mammoth,
maniacal,
materialism,
matriarch,
mall,
meddlesome,
mediate,
menagerie,
metropolis,
metal,
minuscule,
mire,
mirth,
mischance,
misconception,
misgiving,
misnomer,
mitigate,
modicum,
molten,
monotony,
montage,
mores,
mosaic,
mode,
motif,
muddle,
muggy,
multilingual,
munificent,
murky,
muted,
naivete,
navigable,
negate,
negligible,
nepotism,
nihilist,
nomadic,
nominal,
noncommittal,
notoriety,
noxious,
nuptial,
oaf,
obdurate,
obese,
obligatory,
oblique,
obliterate,
obsequious,
obstetrician,
obstinate,
obtuse,
odious,
officious,
ogle,
olfactory,
omnipotent,
opaque,
opportune,
optician,
opulence,
opus,
orator,
ordain,
ornate,
ornery,
ostensible,
ostentatious,
oust,
outlandish,
outskirt,
outspoken,
outweed,
ovation,
overt,
overwrought,
pachyderm,
pacifist,
pacify,
painstaking,
palatable,
palate,
pallid,
palpable,
paltry,
panache,
pandemic,
pandemonium,
pander,
panoramic,
parable,
paradigm,
paraphernalia,
paraphrase,
pair,
parody,
parochial,
parody,
paroxysm,
parry,
parsimony,
partisan,
partition,
pathos,
patriarch,
pauper,
pensive,
penury,
perennial,
perfunctory,
peripheral,
periphery,
pernicious,
perpetrate,
perpetuate,
peruse,
phenomena,
philanderer,
philanthropist,
Philistin,
phlegmatic,
physiological,
piecemeal,
pied,
piety,
pigment,
pillage,
pinnacle,
pious,
pitfall,
pithy,
pittance,
placate,
placebo,
placid,
plaintive,
platitude,
plebeian,
plethora,
plucky,
plummet,
podiatrist,
politic,
ponderous,
porous,
portent,
poser,
practicable,
pragmatist,
prattle,
preamble,
precept,
precipice,
precipitate,
precipitous,
preclude,
precocious,
predecessor,
predilection,
preempt,
prelude,
presage,
pretext,
prevalent,
prim,
proclivity,
procrastinate,
prodigious,
profane,
progenitor,
progeny, projectile,
proliferation,
prolific,
prologue,
promiscuous,
propagate,
propensity,
propriety,
prosaic,
protege,
provisional,
pseudonym,
pterodactyl,
pummel,
pungent,
putrid,
pyromania,
quagmire,
qualm,
quell,
quench,
querulous,
query,
quirk,
quiver,
quizzical,
quorum,
rancid,
rapacious,
ratify,
reactionary,
rebuff,
rebuke,
recession,
reciprocal,
recrimination,
redress,
refute,
rehabilitate,
reiterate,
rejuvenate,
relic,
remnant,
renegade,
renege,
renovate,
renown,
repeal,
replenish,
replicate,
repose,
repository,
repress,
reprimand,
reprisal,
reprobate,
reprove,
repudiate,
repugnant,
reputed,
requiem,
requisite,
resolute,
resolve,
resonant,
respite,
restitution,
retentive,
reticence,
retort,
retroactive,
retrograde,
retrospective,
revulsion,
rife,
rigor,
rigorous,
Rile.
riveting,
Route.
ruffian,
Saccharine.
sacrilegious,
Sagacious.
salient,
Salutary.
sanction,
Sanguine.
sardonic,
Satire.
savory,
Scamp.
scanty,
Schism.
scruple,
Scrupulous.
scurvy,
Sear.
seclusion,
Secular.
sedentary,
Sedition.
seep,
Seminal.
seminary,
Serendipity.
serpentine,
Serrated.
servitude,
Shackle.
sheer,
Shun.
shyster,
Simplistic.
simulate,
Sinewy.
sinuous,
Skeptic.
skiff,
Skimp.
skirmish,
Skulk.
slight,
Slough.
slur,
Smelt.
snicker,
Sojourn.
solicit,
Solicitous.
soliloquy,
Soluble.
solvent,
Somber.
sonorous,
Sparse.
Spartan,
Spate.
spatial,
Sporadic.
sportive,
Spry.
squabble,
Squalor.
stagnant,
Stalemate.
stalwart,
Stanza.
stasis,
Steadfast.
stifle,
Stigma.
stint,
Stipend.
stipulate,
Stodgy.
stoic,
Stoke.
stolid,
Stringent.
strut,
Stupor.
subdued,
Subjective.
subliminal,
Subordinate.
subservient,
Subsidiary.
subsidy,
Subsistence.
substantiate,
Substantive.
subterfuge,
Subversive.
succinct,
Succumb.
sultry,
Sumptuous.
supercilious,
Superfluous.
supersede,
Supposition.
surmise,
Surmount.
surpass,
Sustenance.
swarthy,
Swindler.
sycophant,
Synthesis.
tacit,
Taciturn.
tactile,
Tantamount.
tarry,
Taut.
temperate,
Tenacity.
tenuous,
Tepid.
terminology,
Terminus.
terrestrial,
Terse.
thespian,
Thrifty.
throw,
Throng.
thwart,
Tiller.
timidity,
Tome.
topography,
Torrent.
torrid,
Tortuous.
tractable,
Transcendent.
transgression,
Transitory.
translucent,
Traverse.
treatise,
Tremor.
trepidation,
Trifling.
trinket,
Tumult.
turbid,
Turncoat.
tutelage,
Ubiquitous.
unanimity,
Unassuming.
uncouth,
Unequivocal.
unfathomable,
Ungainly.
uniformity,
Unimpeachable.
unruly,
Untenable.
unwarranted,
Unwieldy.
upbraid,
Upshot.
usurp,
Utopia.
vagabond,
Vantage.
vapid,
Vaporize.
veer,
Vehement.
veneer,
Venerable.
ventriloquist,
veracity,
verbatim,
verdant,
vernacular,
vernal,
versatile,
vertigo,
verve,
vestige,
vicarious,
vindicate,
virile,
virtuoso,
virulent,
visceral,
viscous,
vivacious,
vogue,
voluminous,
voluptuous,
voracious,
vouchsafe,
voyeur,
waft,
wave,
wane,
wanton,
wean,
wet,
whimsical,
whinny,
whittle,
wily,
wince,
windfall,
wistful,
writhe,
rye,
yeoman,
yield,
zany,
zeal,
zenith,
abase,
abash,
abdicate,
abet,
abjure,
ablution,
abnegate,
abnegation,
abrade,
abridge,
abrogate,
abscond,
abstemious,
acclimate,
acclivity,
accolade,
accost,
accouter,
accretion,
acerbity,
ascetic,
acidulous,
acrimonious,
acrophobia,
actuarial,
acuity,
addle,
adjoin,
adjudicate,
adjunct,
adjure,
admonition,
adulation,
adulterate,
adumbrate,
adventitious,
airy,
affix,
affluence,
agglomeration,
aggrandize,
agnostic,
alacrity,
algorithm,
alimentary,
allay,
allegory,
alliteration,
amalgamate,
amass,
ambidextrous,
ambivalence,
amble,
ambulatory,
ameliorate,
amity,
amorphous,
amphitheater,
amplify,
anachronistic,
analgesic,
anathema,
ancestry,
ancillary,
angular,
animus,
annotate,
anodyne,
antecede,
antecedents,
antediluvian,
anthology,
anthropocentric,
anthropoid,
anthropomorphic,
anticlimax,
antipathy,
aphasia,
aphorism,
apiary,
aplomb,
apogee,
apolitical,
apologist,
apostate,
apotheosis,
appall,
append,
apposite,
appraise,
apprenticeship,
apprise,
archetype,
aristocracy,
arraign,
arrogate,
artisan,
aseptic,
ashen,
askance,
asperity,
aspirant,
assay,
astigmatism,
astringent,
asymmetric,
atavism,
atavistic,
atheistic,
attenuate,
attrition,
atypical,
aureole,
auroral,
authenticate,
authoritarian,
autocrat,
autocratic,
automaton,
autonomous,
avocation,
avuncular,
bacchanalian,
badinage,
bantering,
barterer,
bait,
beatific,
beatitude,
becalm,
beckon,
becloud,
bedizen,
bedraggle,
befuddle,
beleaguer,
bellicose,
bemoan,
bemused,
bestial,
betoken,
betroth,
bevy,
bewilder,
bicameral,
biennial,
billowing,
bivouac,
blandishment,
blare,
blench,
blighted,
bludgeon,
bombardment,
bombastic,
bovine,
bowdlerize,
brandish,
brindled,
bristling,
bristly,
broil,
buccaneer,
bucolic,
buffoonery,
bumptious,
bungle,
burgeon,
bursar,
buttress,
cabal,
cacophonous,
cadaverous,
cadence,
cajole,
cauldron,
callow,
calorific,
canny,
cantankerous,
cantata,
canto,
capitulate,
captious,
captivate,
careen,
careworn,
carping,
cartographer,
castigate,
cataclysm,
catcall,
catechism,
categorical,
cock,
cavil,
seed,
censorious,
centigrade,
centrifugal,
centripetal,
centurion,
ceremonious,
certitude,
chaffing,
chalice,
cherry,
chasten,
cherubic,
chicanery,
choleric,
chortle,
churlish,
circumlocution,
circumscribe,
citadel,
clamber,
clangor,
climactic,
climb,
cloying,
coagulate,
coalesce,
codify,
cogency,
cogent,
cogitate,
cognate,
cognizance,
cohere,
coherence,
colander,
collate,
colloquial,
commandeer,
commodious,
compensatory,
complacent,
complementary,
complicity,
concerted,
concomitantly,
condole,
conformity,
confound,
consanguineous,
constrain,
contentious,
continence,
controvert,
convalesce,
convoke,
coquette,
corrode,
corrugated,
coterie,
countermand,
countervail,
cull,
culminate,
culvert,
cumbersome,
curtail,
cynosure,
dappled,
daub,
daunt,
deadpan,
debase,
debilitate,
debunk,
decelerate,
deciduous,
declaim,
decolled,
decrepitude,
decry,
deducible,
deface,
defame,
defeatist,
defection,
defoliate,
dehydrate,
deify,
deleterious,
delineate,
demagogue,
demoniac,
demystify,
denigrate,
denizen,
denotation,
denouement,
deprecate,
depreciate,
depredation,
deride,
derogate,
descant,
desiccate,
despoil,
despot,
detraction,
devotee,
dictatorial,
differentiate,
disband,
discomfit,
discomposure,
disconcert,
disconsolate,
discursive,
disembark,
disenfranchise,
disfigure,
disgorge,
disgruntle,
dishearten,
disinclination,
disinter,
disparate,
dispassionate,
dispirited,
disputatious,
disseminate,
dissenter,
dissimulate,
dissolution,
dissonance,
distend,
distill,
diurnal,
diverge,
doctrinaire,
doff,
doggerel,
doldrums,
doleful,
domineer,
dormer,
draconian,
drench,
ductile,
dumbfound,
dwindle,
ebullient,
eccentricity,
ecclesiastic,
edify,
effectual,
effervescence,
efficacy,
effluvia,
effusive,
egoism,
elate,
elegy,
ellipsis,
elucidate,
emanate,
emancipate,
embellish,
embroider,
emend,
emendation,
emollient,
encipher,
encircle,
enclave,
encomium,
encompass,
encumber,
endemic,
energize,
enervate,
enfranchise,
engender,
engrave,
engross,
engulf,
enigmatic,
enjoin,
enrapture,
ensconce,
enthrall,
entitlement,
enunciate,
epicure,
epidermis,
epigram,
epilogue,
episodic,
epistolary,
eponymous,
equable,
equine,
equivocate,
ersatz,
erudite,
escapism,
eschew,
espy,
ethos,
euphonious,
evanescent,
even-handed,
exasperate,
excavate,
exceptionable,
excerpt,
excoriate,
exculpate,
execrable,
exegesis,
exigency,
expatriate,
explicate,
expository,
expropriate,
expunge,
expurgate,
extenuate,
extirpate,
extol,
extrapolation,
extrinsic,
extrovert,
extrude,
exuberance,
exude,
exult,
fatalism,
fatuous,
febrile,
fecundity,
feral,
fervid,
fictive,
fidget,
figurine,
filch,
filial,
finicky,
firebrand,
fitful,
flabbergasted,
flaccid,
fleck,
flit,
flout,
fluctuate,
fluency,
fluster,
foible,
foment,
forebode,
foreshadow,
formative,
forswear,
fracas,
fractious,
fraternize,
frenetic,
frenzied,
frolicsome,
frond,
frugality,
fulsome,
furor,
gadfly,
gate,
galleon,
galvanize,
gamble,
gamely,
gauche,
geniality,
gentility,
gentry,
germinal,
germinate,
gesticulation,
jibe,
gingerly,
girder,
glacial,
glossary,
glower,
glut,
gourmand,
grandiloquent,
granulate,
grapple,
gregarious,
guffaw,
guile,
guileless,
gustatory,
gusty,
haggard,
halting,
harbinger,
haughtiness,
heckler,
hedonist,
hegemony,
herbivorous,
hermetic,
heterodox,
hibernal,
hibernate,
hinterland,
histrionic,
hodgepodge,
hoodwink,
horticultural,
hurdle,
hydrophobia,
ichthyology,
iconoclastic,
idiosyncrasy,
idolatry,
illimitable,
imbibe,
imbue,
immobility,
impalpable,
impecunious,
impenitent,
impermeable,
impiety,
impinge,
impious,
importunate,
importune,
impoverished,
imprecation,
improvident,
impugn,
inadvertent,
inaugurate,
incandescent,
incarnadine,
inchoate,
incise,
incisive,
inconsistency,
incontinent,
incorporeal,
incredulous,
increment,
incrustation,
incubate,
indent,
indenture,
indigent,
indiscriminate,
indissoluble,
indoctrinate,
indubitable,
inducible,
ineffable,
inefficacious,
inequity,
inexorable,
infidel,
infirmity,
ingenuous,
ingrained,
ingratiate,
inhibit,
inimical,
inimitable,
iniquitous,
insalubrious,
inscribe,
insensate,
insensible,
insolvent,
instill,
insubstantial,
insularity,
insuperable,
intelligentsia,
intemperate,
interlocutor,
interment,
internecine,
interregnum,
intractable,
intransigence,
inundate,
inure,
inured,
invective,
inverse,
invertebrate,
invidious,
invigorate,
inviolable,
irascible,
ire,
iridescent,
irremediable,
irreproachable,
irresolute,
irretrievable,
irreverence,
jaundiced,
jingoist,
jocose,
jocular,
jollity,
jostle,
jubilation,
junta,
jurisprudence,
juxtaposition,
kleptomaniac,
knave,
naughty,
lackadaisical,
laggard,
lampoon,
larder,
largess,
lassitude,
laud,
leaven,
lecherous,
lechery,
legerdemain,
lethargic,
lexicographer,
lexicon,
liberator,
libertarian,
libertine,
libretto,
licentious,
Lilliputian,
linchpin,
liniment,
lionize,
lisp,
lol,
lobe,
lugubrious,
luminary,
lummox,
macabre,
macrocosm,
magnate,
maladroit,
malady,
malapropism,
malediction,
malefactor,
malingerer,
malleable,
malodorous,
marred,
marsupial,
martinet,
matriculate,
mawkish,
meander,
megalomania,
melee,
mellifluous,
mendacious,
mendicant,
mercurial,
mesmerize,
metallurgical,
miasma,
microcosm,
microorganism,
migrant,
migratory,
milieu,
mime,
mimicry,
mincing,
minutiae,
misanthrope,
misapprehension,
miscellany,
misconstrue,
miserly,
misrepresent,
missive,
mnemonic,
modulate,
mollify,
mold,
monastic,
monochromatic,
monolithic,
monosyllabic,
monumental,
moodiness,
mordant,
moribund,
morphology,
mortify,
mottled,
muffle,
multifaceted,
multifarious,
multiform,
multiplicity,
musky,
mutability,
mutinous,
myopic,
mystify,
nadir,
nascent,
nauseate,
nebulous,
necromancy,
neologism,
neonate,
neophyte,
nettle,
nicety,
nicotine,
noisome,
nomenclature,
nonchalance,
nonconformist,
nondescript,
nonentity,
nonplus,
nostrum,
nullify,
numismatist,
nutrient,
obfuscate,
obstreperous,
obtrude,
obviate,
odium,
odorous,
oligarchy,
omnipresent,
omniscient,
omnivorous,
onerous,
onus,
opalescent,
opiate,
opine,
opprobrious,
optometrist,
oracular,
oratorio,
ordination,
ornithologist,
ornithology,
oscillate,
ossify,
ostracize,
outmoded,
outstrip,
paean,
palatial,
palimpsest,
pall,
palliate,
palpitate,
panacea,
panegyric,
pantomime,
papyrus,
parallelism,
parameter,
parch,
parsimonious,
partial,
partiality,
particulate,
pastel,
pastiche,
pastoral,
pathogen,
pathogenic,
patina,
patrician,
paucity,
peccadillo,
peculate,
pecuniary,
pedagogy,
pedant,
pedantic,
pejorative,
pellucid,
penitent,
percolate,
percussion,
perdition,
peregrination,
peremptory,
perfidious,
perforate,
permeable,
permeate,
perquisite,
perspicacious,
pert,
pertinacious,
perturb,
pervasive,
pessimism,
petrefaction,
petrify,
phalanx,
philology,
phonetics,
phylum,
picaresque,
piebald,
pilfer,
piquant,
peak,
plagiarism,
plagiarize,
plasma,
plasticity,
plaudit,
plenitude,
pliable,
pliant,
plod,
plumage,
plutocracy,
poignancy,
polarize,
polemical,
polygamist,
polyglot,
polygon,
pomposity,
pontifical,
portend,
portentous,
portly,
posit,
post-date,
posthumous,
postulate,
potable,
potentate,
prate,
precipitate,
précis,
precursor,
predetermine,
predispose,
predominate,
preeminent,
preen,
prehensile,
prelate,
premeditate,
prescience,
presentiment,
preternatural,
prevaricate,
primeval,
primp,
privation,
proffer,
profligate,
profusion,
prohibitive,
proletarian,
prolixity,
promontory,
promulgate,
propellant,
prophetic,
propinquity,
propitiate,
propitious,
proponent,
propound,
proprietorship,
propulsive,
proscribe,
proselytize,
prostrate,
protean,
protract,
protrude,
protuberance, provident,
prurient,
puerile,
pugilist,
pugnacity,
puissant,
pulchritude,
pulverize,
punctilious,
pundit,
purloin,
purported,
purveyor,
pusillanimous,
quadruped,
quaff,
quantitative,
key,
quiescent,
quietude,
quintessence,
quib,
quixotic,
raconteur,
riment,
ramification,
ramify,
ramshackle,
rancor,
rankle,
wrapped,
rarefied,
raspy,
ratiocination,
ration,
raucous,
ravel,
raise,
recalcitrant,
recapitulate,
recast,
recidivism,
rectitude,
recumbent,
recurrent,
redolent,
redoubtable,
refract,
refraction,
refractory,
refurbish,
regale,
rejoinder,
rekindle,
relegate,
relent,
remediable,
reminiscence,
remonstrance,
remunerative,
rend,
reparable,
reparation,
repast,
repercussion,
replete,
reprise,
repulsion,
requite,
resplendent,
responsiveness,
restive,
resumption,
research,
retinue,
retrench,
revelry,
reverent,
reverie,
revile,
rhapsodize,
ribald,
rinse,
rivulet,
royal,
rostrum,
road,
rotundity,
ruminate,
saboteur,
sacrosanct,
salacious,
salubrious,
salvo,
sartorial,
sate,
satiate,
satire,
satirical,
satirize,
saturate,
saturnine,
saunter,
savant,
scabbard,
scads,
scaffold,
scavenge,
schematic,
scintillate,
scrutinize,
scuba,
sculpt,
scurrilous,
scuttle,
seamy,
secession,
secrete,
sectarian,
sectional,
sedulous,
seedling,
seemly,
seethe,
semi-literate,
sententious,
sequester,
seraphic,
serval,
shard,
sheaf,
sheath,
shipwright,
shirk,
silt,
simile,
simper,
sinecure,
skinflint,
slacken,
slake,
slapdash,
slipshod,
slothful,
slovenly,
sluggard,
slur,
smolder,
snivel,
snobbish,
sobriquet,
sodden,
solder,
solecism,
solemnity,
somnambulist,
somnolent,
sophistry,
sophomoric,
soporific,
spangle,
spasmodic,
specious,
spendthrift,
spurious,
spurn,
staccato,
state,
stanch,
stigmatize,
stilted,
stoical,
stratagem,
stratify,
stratum,
strew,
striated,
stricture,
strident,
stultify,
stupefy,
stymie,
suavity,
subjugate,
suborn,
succor,
suffragist,
sunder,
superimpose,
supplant,
supplicate,
surfeit,
surreptitious,
swathe,
swelter,
sybarite,
symbiosis,
synoptic,
talon,
tangential,
tantalize,
tautological,
tautology,
temerity,
tempestuous,
temporize,
tendentious,
tenet,
tensile,
thematic,
theocracy,
threadbare,
tightwad,
timorous,
titter,
titular,
toady,
torpor,
totter,
traduce,
tranquility,
transcribe,
transmute,
transpose,
travail,
treacly,
tremulous,
trenchant,
trounce,
truculence,
truculent,
truism,
truncate,
turgid,
turpitude,
tyro,
unaccountable,
unassailable,
unctuous,
underscore,
undulating,
unerringly,
unfetter,
unfrock,
unintimidating,
unkempt,
unobtrusive,
unpalatable,
unprepossessing,
unsightly,
unstinting,
uproarious,
urbane,
utensil,
utopian,
vacillate,
vacillation,
vacuous,
vagrant,
valedictory,
vanguard,
variegated,
venal,
vend,
venerate,
venial,
venturesome,
verbalize,
verbiage,
verbose,
verisimilitude,
verity,
vertebrate,
vertex,
vicissitude,
vignette,
vilify,
vim,
viscid,
vice,
vitriolic,
vituperative,
vociferous,
voluble,
waggish,
warble,
wastrel,
watershed,
waylay,
welter,
wheedle,
whelp,
winnow,
winsome,
wispy,
witticism,
wizardry,
xenophobia,
yelp,
zealot,